What should the government do when it comes to business and entrepreneurs? I know you said we shouldn't necessarily criticize them, but if there was an ideal world, should they just let them get to it, as meaning like tax them as little as possible, try to keep the red tape to a minimum? Or what do you think the government can do to make pro-business and pro-entrepreneurs and pro-innovation in this time?
I don't know really. What I do think about government is that for the most part, I think, well, I was going to say for the most part, I was going to say in senior government, we have pretty good people. But even that's not really true, as we know. But in middle government and lower government, the average, senator, MP, they're not very good. So honestly, I wouldn't employ them as middle management, most of them, self-interest. And why? Because nobody like myself, I'm interested in politics. I'd love to get in and change things and make things happen. I'm not going to go into politics because we have a culture at the moment that wants to kick everybody up the bum if you're in politics, egged on by the press. And while that culture exists, honestly, we the people get what we deserve. It's not that the politicians are bad, it's just that we'll never get really, really great politicians because we're trying to trip them up the entire time. And actually, the press have a great deal to answer for. The press sell newspapers, and the idea that they're constantly looking at bad news and trying to trip people up and make people wrong. And actually, if you get, it's corny to say it, but the Second World War atmosphere is we're behind you, we're in this together, we're all in this together. The planet is rocking through culture and space and everything's okay, but the worse it gets in respect to what I'm talking about, the closer we get to something changing, because it will change eventually, but it has gone on for a long time. So I think, government will do what it does, and entrepreneurs. I think one thing that's interesting is you're getting so many more young entrepreneurs now who are making a great deal of money when they're very young. What are they going to do with the rest of their lives when they make that much money when they're 30? And what are they going to do with their money? Now, some of your viewers will say, Bill Gates is a good example, obviously Bill and Melinda Gates, and have done really, really good things. Some of your viewers will conspiracy theory and say, no, they're awful people. I'm telling you, they're not.
You met them.
Yeah, I have. I don't know him very well. I sat next to Bill Gates at dinner once, and we had a short conversation. Somebody said, what was your conversation? I said, he leaned forward to me, looked me straight in the eyes and said, pass the salt, would you? That's about as close as I got to Bill Gates. But, I think he's a good guy. And, what will these young people do? Pick up the rest of their life? For the most part, I reckon they're good people. And they're not just going, after a while, you're just making more and more money. You want to do something with this life. That's what gives you real happiness. As I get older, doing something, helping other people, making a difference. Still I've got my ego and I love doing stuff like this, but doing that gives you real happiness. And that's what we want, is happiness. So it's a selfish motive.
Yeah.